We've been traveling through Ephesians over the last few weeks. I don't know if you noticed that we've been doing that, but that's what we've been doing. And each week we've had a different memory verse. Can anyone remember the memory verse from several weeks ago? Yes, Beth. What is it? Can you remember what it is? God can do immeasurably more than all we ask for or imagine. What a brilliant memory verse that is, to commit to memory. And so, just like Jackie is saying there, when we're struggling with doubt and fear and anxiety, we can pull out of get our sword out and we can use that verse. And it's been a joy to be with Tori and Steve Moore, one of our youth workers who helps out in the youth cafe on Tuesday and Wednesdays, and Josh and Mikey and Beth and Chloe. Where's Chloe? Chloe there? Yeah, fantastic. And a whole load of others, Megan and George and Frankie, and who else went? Maisie and JJ, of course, yeah. And we've had the most amazing week, I have to tell you. God's been so gracious to us. We had a fantastic weather, that was great. But until the last day, and then we got completely drenched, didn't we? Yeah, completely drenched. But God's been really there, and God can do immeasurably more than all we ask for or imagine. We had very low expectations, or at least I'm not sure whether I don't know how high your expectations were, but in terms of what God would do in the lives of these young people, my expectations were not high, and yet God has way, way, way far exceeded all of those expectations and dreams that we had. And we'll hear from Josh in a sec about what God has done. Another verse we had was, can you remember this one? No one could remember it last week, or a couple of weeks ago, when Kate said, what did you do last week? No one could remember. This was one I talked about. It's a bit disappointing when no one can remember a thing about what you're saying. But anyway, Christ gave each one of us a special gift. Isn't that a great theme? Great source of strength for us? And then Kate did one, where we remember this one. I don't know if you said it exactly the same way. Did you say it a different way? Can you remember how you said it? It was a different version, because this is the NIV. You won't find it in there, because that's the NIV. I don't think it's in there. Anyway, follow God's example as dearly loved children. You get the idea, which was a great theme as well. And then last week, Mark spoke. Can anyone remember what Mark spoke about last week? Yeah, I spoke about worship. And I don't know, did you have a memory verse last week as well? Was it this memory verse? I don't know. It was the one before. It was a long one, which ends up with sing and make music from your heart to the Lord. And I have to say, one of the changes and transformations that we've seen is the young people coming along who start off not so sure about the whole music thing. And there we are with 9,000 other young people standing in a big top. The music starts up, doesn't it, Josh? And it's pretty loud, isn't it? It's good. It's got some rhythm and a beat to it that surprises even me. And anyway, so we start off relatively kind of passive, and yet by the end of the week, every single one of us was standing up and enjoying God together. In fact, not just standing up and enjoying God together, but jumping up and down and enjoying God together. It was we certainly sang and made music from our hearts. And what moved me was seeing young people whose lives, instead of it being an intellectual thing or something that they're just participating in, but you could see that it was moving into their hearts, which is such a joy. This is today's verse, which is a kind of mix of two verses, verse 10 and verse 18. Let's all say it together. Be strong in the Lord, and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. Fantastic, that's brilliant. And it's Ephesians 6, verse 10, and it's verse 18. It's the first bit of each time. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. So let's just take it that way. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. Let's do it one more time. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. Let's go that. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. And last time, be strong in the Lord. Very good. Well done. Ephesians 6, 10 and 18. So the first bit, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. This is the world we live in. And you remember I've drawn this picture quite a few times. We live in a world, and Jackie was hinting to it about what it's like to go to school with the oranges. And I thought that was really powerful. Wasn't that a powerful image? of what it's like. And a great little story about this orange went to school. I love that. This orange goes to school. I love that. And sometimes this orange goes to school. But I know what that's like. I know what that's like going to school. Flipping scary. And there were many times I went to school and I really didn't like it. In fact, I lived at school for a while. My parents didn't like me enough, so they sent me to a boarding school. Now, oh, I joke. They loved me so much that they sent me to a boarding school. But going to a boarding school is like school times 10 in that you're always there. You never leave the thing. So you don't just have the school day, you have after school, and then you have dormitory time, and then you have breakfast time, and you have, it's all day. And there would be, and my dormitory was at the top of the hill, and I would often walk up the hill praying to Jesus for safety. Literally for safety. Physical safety, emotional safety, and kind of spiritual safety. It felt really hard work for me. And I had to trust Jesus that he'd be strong around me. And time and time again, I had to pray. Now, one of the guys I was chatting to while we were away this week, we got chatting about school. For him, school is really difficult. Really difficult. Feels out of it. And gets bullied quite a lot at school. So I told him the story of what it's like for me, and said I pray a lot to Jesus in order to help me at school. Be strong in the Lord. The world we live in isn't just us expressing ourselves and being creative and imaginative, but actually it feels like there's stuff on our backs all the time. And doesn't it feel like that? Stuff getting us down? I mean, if you ask people how they are, after they've said fine, thank you very much, they'll then tell you the stuff that's getting them down. And there's a load of stuff getting us down, isn't there? And if it's not us, it's someone else that we know, and there's stuff on their backs. This is the world we live in, and it's the world that Paul lived in, and it's the world that Jesus lived in. In fact, it's the world that Jesus came into in order to release us from these arrows. And so he came to be our strength. He came to be our strength today. And each one of us has something where we're feeling vulnerable and weak. Some area of our lives, maybe several areas of our lives where we're feeling vulnerable and weak. And God is saying, be strong in me. Be strong in me. Don't be strong in yourselves. Be strong in me. You with me? Be strong in me. Be strong. Be strong. Do not be nervous or tentative or unconfident, but be strong. We know the difference. Dan threw the ball in a strong way, didn't he? Yeah? Did we see Dan? He was strong. He had no fear over the cartons at the front of the thing, over the cups. Hope was a little bit more nervous, wasn't she? We could see that. It's like, in fact, one time the ball didn't even get there. It was that kind of sensitive. God is saying to us, be like Dan. Be like Dan. I'm not saying don't be like Hope. Be like Hope. She's beautiful. But you understand what I'm saying in terms of be strong, be confident. Sometimes we're a bit like Hope with life. Aren't we? We're a bit like, kind of like, I'm not sure this is, I don't have the confidence that it's going to fall down. There's stuff on your backs, there's stuff on my back at the moment that we're facing. God is saying, be strong. There's a guy called Joshua in the Bible. If anyone can find it, Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Can anyone read out Joshua chapter 1, verse 9? Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. You've committed it to your heart already, haven't you? Fantastic. That's fine. Just do that one more time.
Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
It's a good verse, isn't it? Joshua, come to the front. Let's give him a cheer.
I didn't write that first, by the way.
So, you hold the microphone.
Yes.
Yes, he says. Yeah. So tell us a bit about Soul Survivor and what it was like. Just tell us.
Oh, it was a great experience, to be honest. First night, I thought, well, this is absolutely amazing. Over 9,000 people being there. It was incredible. The first meeting, yeah, it was a bit boring to start off with. And I almost fell asleep. But after a while you get used to it and you start giving your life through God. And it was just, yeah, it was a great experience. And then I think it was on the third night, the third night, which was on the Wednesday, when my sister came, which was, and Mikey and Beth.
It was Monday, not Wednesday. But anyway, it doesn't matter what day it was. On that
That's
day,
right. Monday, sorry, I'm confusing myself now. Most of us gave our lives to Jesus, so including me, sister, a few others. And and then from then we were all enjoying ourselves, jumping up and down, and just living a casual life now.
So giving your life to Jesus sounds easy, but how was it for you? Was it easy giving your life to Jesus? What did it feel like?
It was kind of scary at first. I mean, when I first gave my life to Jesus, I was like, what have I done? I mean, this is going to change me so much. But after a while, I got used to it and I started to pray to God and stuff like that. I mean, there was this one time I was just sat down, everyone was quiet, and I was like, okay, this could be my chance. So I was there praying, and then out of nowhere, Mike, who was the one who was doing the meeting, he gets on the stage and just explains my story that I just prayed about. I was like, wow, that's incredible. So I got up to the front, and then I got prayed for. Yeah, there was a few sobs and tears. And also, I was wearing this T-shirt. If any of you seen the Walking Dead TV series or even heard of it, I was wearing a T-shirt of that. And obviously it had zombies, and I was like, this ain't who I am anymore. So Richard got me to take off my T-shirt in front of the whole crowd and decided to shove it in a testimony box. And this here, which I brought, which Rich gave me the money for. Since I've been wearing this, it feels like I'm wearing the armor. I mean, this is my armor, and I feel strong when I wear it, and I feel protected, so that's why I'm constantly wearing it. So if you see me wearing it, then you know why. Also, there was a story that I saw on Facebook. I'd like to read it out. It's from a friend of mine. She goes, throughout the week, I felt as though God was building something up in me and really wanted to talk to me. I'm quite shy and I've never really been confident enough to stand up for prayer, but this year I was able to stand up and get prayed for on numerous occasions and had 2 encounters with God. The first time I started shaking and was really afraid, but decided to consciously make the decision to allow God to do what he wanted and to trust him. The next thing I know, I'm on my knees sobbing, but grinning at the same time, feeling God's love for me, yet feeling unworthy of it at the same time. On the last night, I got prayed for again, but just couldn't understand why or how God could love me. I was crying out and felt completely unworthy, but then God used other people to show me his love. It wasn't anything explosive or grand, just the arrival of my dad to the big top, ready to drive us back. After I prayed, he put his arms around me and just held me, and then I understood God's love for me. He loved me not necessarily because of who I am or what I've done, as I've learned we can't earn his love, but because I'm his daughter, because he designed and made me and loved me as I am. Sometimes God speaks to us in subtle ways, but I think this encounter is one of the most profound I've had, and I feel more secure in him now than ever before. Praise the Lord. And that story, when I first read it, was really touching. It was really emotional, and it was very powerful. And that, in a way, is how I feel when I enter God's life. So, yeah.
He just said, am I done? Am I done? Yeah, okay, you're done, yeah. Yeah, you're well and truly done, Josh. It's been a joy to walk with these guys, because the journey that they've been going through is the valley of the shadow of death. And they've had an enemy on their back, but they've heard a God who has said, be strong in me, be strong in me, be strong in me. You can be strong in me. Come to me. And the invitation's been made several times. And each time, one by one, they responded because they knew that they didn't have the strength in themselves. And here's a crowd of them. Josh and JJ are not actually on that picture. Josh is climbing on the top of the big top just behind. He's not. But it's beautiful stories of life transformed. One of them said this. She texted me yesterday when I said, "Hi, how you doing?" She said, "I'm feeling great. I feel so much better. I feel as if I'm a new person. I had an hour of private worship." It was an amazing week. It showed me a new view on life. And what's moving me is because I know the story behind the thing. And I know how boxed in she's been feeling. And to be able to choose that and to step into that and to find that life is fantastic for a young person. Fantastic. What is God's power like? He's the one that moves water to one side so that the people of Israel can move through. He's the one who liberates a guy in a den of lions or a fiery furnace. He's the one who answers our prayers with fire when he poured water over an altar. He's the one who comes and meets in the still small voice. God's power is transforming. What is our power like? Well, we have all kinds of powers. We have amazing powers and abilities. Ian can lift 8 times his body weight, for example. I mean, he is phenomenal. Have you ever seen Ian load his lorry up? I mean, it's amazing. Ian's not the biggest guy, and yet he manages to chuck stuff into that lorry. It's amazing what he can do. And some of us have physical strength, some of us intellectual strength, creative strength, but our powers are nothing when faced up against the enemy that wants to destroy us. And we routinely have to face this enemy. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. And then he goes on to say, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. What I like about this verse is the pray in the Spirit. Pray in the Spirit. In a few weeks' time, we're going to have a baptism service. And Jason texted me a couple of days ago to say that he would like to get baptized, along with Sasha and Dan and Beth. So that's fantastic, Jason. And what I was explaining to him yesterday, we were standing at the sink in the rec house about being baptized. Good place to talk about baptism because you're doing a lot of plunging and immersing of stuff at the sink. And I was talking about filling up a sponge and what it's like to be cleansed and all that sort of stuff. And there's an element to which it's a great illustration of what it is to be in the Spirit. You know, we can pray on the edge, we can pray from a distance, but we're supposed to pray in the Spirit, in the environment of the Spirit. A sponge is best a sponge when it's in the water doing its business. We are best in the Spirit. And so often we're praying from our own energy, from our own strength, from our own wisdom. But Paul says, pray in the Spirit. Pray in the Spirit, from within the Spirit. Now, the Spirit knows what to pray for. We don't know what to pray for. There's a guy who I'm praying for at the moment who jumped off a bridge recently. I mean, his body is mangled and he's suffering immeasurably. And so we're praying. And we don't know what to pray. How do you pray for that? How do you pray for that? The Spirit knows how to pray. Prays with groans. And so we join the Spirit. We pray in the Spirit. Pray in the Spirit. And then he says, pray on all occasions. And the word for occasions is actually seasons. I like this. Pray in all seasons. And we often talk about nowadays, we don't really talk about having different seasons of life. I'm in this season, I'm in that season, there's a new season about to... There's a new season coming up, it's called the New Year. George knows what that's like, it's a September time. It's coming up, isn't it? And you're feeling the anxiety's coming. All teachers know this, and all kids know this. We all know back to school is happening in Sainsbury's, and I hate it. Don't you hate it when it starts advertising back to school? Yeah, I hate it. It makes you just feel sick in your tummy, doesn't it, really? Just anyway. There's a new season coming up. We need to pray in the Spirit in this new season. And some of you are in summertime, basking in the light of God. Some of you in winter. Some of you in young. Some of you are old. Some of you in between. We're all in different seasons of life. I don't know which season you're currently entering into, but I know that if you pray in the Spirit in your new season, you'll discover incredible things. I don't know, how do you think this guy is feeling in this picture? He's just walking out of one room into a new season. How is he feeling? Any ideas? apprehensive, hopeful, liberated, relieved. Any others? Scared. See, it's interesting, isn't it, that we've picked up on two sides. There's some who are saying he's feeling hopeful, liberated, and there are others who are saying he's feeling apprehensive. I think that's true. Both of those are true. Even if you're walking into a new life like Josh was earlier in the week, you feel liberated, you feel excited, but you're also feeling apprehensive and you're feeling anxious. Because new things, new seasons, bring with them new challenges, don't they? All of us are walking into a new season. This church is walking into a new season. And it may be glorious, it may be amazing, and yet it's still apprehensive. What do we do as we move from where we currently are into our future? What do? We need to pray in the Spirit. We need to pray in the Spirit on all occasions, in all seasons. You with me? Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions. Ephesians 6:10 and 18.